Hey everyone, Knowledge here with Reach Your Summit. In this video, I'm going to share with all of you a first look at the new Altra Lone Peak 8. Alright, thanks for joining me. If you've been out on the trail with me in the past, you've seen me out on the trail, or you've stumbled upon any of my videos on this channel, chances are you know that I'm a big fan of Altra footwear, and most specifically the Altra Lone Peaks and the Altra Olympus. Both just work really well for my foot shape, and they're what I've found to be the most comfortable for me and my particular hiking style. I've been a big fan of zero drop over the years, and I've found that to work as well. So I'm really excited to share this video with all of you. My general first impressions with the shoe are really good. So far, I feel that this is a step in the right direction with this shoe, and only time will tell. So in this video, I'm going to go over what has changed, what has remained the same, and my general first impressions so far, what I like, what I dislike, and we'll go over the fit as well. Just to help give all of you a little bit more of an idea of this shoe and whether or not you want to try it out for yourself. But to start off, let's get into the specs of the shoe. So kicking things off, the total cost of the Altra Lone Peak 8s are $140. So that's $10 less than the Altra Lone Peak 7s. Still has the zero drop or the balanced cushioning platform, the anatomically correct foot shape, and the original foot shape fit, and that is the widest of the 3 different fits that Altra offers for their lineup of footwear. I went with a men's size 11, and on my scale for my pair, they weigh in at 22.4 ounces, and you're still getting the Max Track outsole for traction, and the midsole is made out of Altra's Ego foam, and it also has a stone guard built into the shoe. The shoe also has the flap in the back to help provide a little bit of extra traction when going downhill, and the tread pattern is the same as the Lone Peak 7, so you get slightly different pattern near the big toe and also in the back and the heel to help out on the trail as well. So with the Lone Peak 8, I've been finding so far that this has been a really nice blend between the Altra Lone Peak 6 and the Altra Lone Peak 7. It has some things that I really liked with the 6 and some things that I like with the 7. First off, the fit. So I find this fit to be a little bit more spacious than the Altra Lone Peak 7. It's not as narrow, and that's something that I really enjoyed with the Lone Peak 6, and I was a little bummed about with the Altra Lone Peak 7s. Though I still wear the 7s, I have them on right now, it kind of fell short for me compared to the Lone Peak 6, and I really enjoyed the Lone Peak 6 overall, much more than the Lone Peak 7s. So finding the fit of this updated shoe to be similar to the Lone Peak 6 is something that I was really happy with. Though it fits similar to the Lone Peak 6, you still have the reinforced heel cup in the back, so it still provides really good stability and support. I really feel locked into this shoe in a similar way that I do with the Lone Peak 7 as far as the heel support goes. So the shoe feels really nice and refined. It's not as sloppy or slipper-like as the 6. It has that fair amount of volume and fit to the 6, but a nice locked-in heel like the 7. Another update, the laces are a lot longer than they were on the Lone Peak 7s. Very minor update, but one that I appreciate. It's nice being able to lock everything in a little bit more if I wanted to. And along with being able to lock in the foot a bit more with the laces, Altra has also brought back some additional eyelets in the upper of the shoe, similar to what they had with the Lone Peak 6. So it really gives me a nice precise fit. I can widen everything and still keep my foot secure, or I can really cinch it down a little bit tighter. So I'm really happy to see that with this updated shoe too. Biggest update with the shoe is in the upper. So the upper is using a really nice ripstop nylon. Kind of reminds me of what the Lone Peak 5 had and the Lone Peak 6. This is definitely a lot more noticeable and robust than what the Lone Peak 7 had. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how this holds up over time, how well it breathes, how fast it dries, and how well it performs. The shoe still does not have any drain ports like the Lone Peak 6 did, so it's very similar to the Lone Peak 7 in that regard. And though the toe cap is still welded on the top, similar to the Lone Peak 7 and Ultra Superior, it's been trimmed down and it's a little bit more refined. So I'm looking forward to seeing how well that holds up. I felt that that was a pain point with the Lone Peak 7. With my shoe, I did have to add some aqua seal to it to reinforce it and glue a couple of areas. Didn't have any major issues after that, but it was something that I noticed with my shoe. And that reinforced area also helps protect my toes, so it gives me a good amount of protection. The outsole is also glued on, very similar to the Lone Peak 7. Still don't have the stitching in the toe cap like with the 5 and 6, but I didn't have any issues with the 7 as far as the toe cap goes. But we'll see how it holds up with the Lone Peak 8 and if it compares to the Lone Peak 7 as far as that goes. Shoe also has some additional hints of the Lone Peak 6 sprinkled in, which I really like. The tongue pull tab and the heel pull tab have a topographic pattern to it. Also, the Altra logo here has the topographic pattern to it, very similar to the Lone Peak 6, so I felt that was a nice tribute to that shoe. Tongue is nicely padded for additional comfort, and the whole inner part of the shoe also feels a little bit softer to me than the Lone Peak 7 did, which I'm really happy about too. I loved the softer feel of the Lone Peak 6, and with those shoes, I found them to dry pretty quickly, so hopefully this inner will help with that. The shoe still has the Velcro gator trap on the back, and for the front, it's been reinforced in the upper to help keep the hook from the gator in the front a little bit more secure and not having the fabric possibly fold in. That was something that I did find to happen a little bit with the Lone Peak 7, so this is a nice minor update as well, and I look forward to seeing how well that works when I'm out on the trails wearing gaiters with this shoe. The shoe still has a 25 millimeter stack height, similar to the previous versions of the shoe, and I'm really happy that the shoe has kept that as well. Overall, I prefer the Lone Peaks over the Olympus just because I really love having the ground feel. So far, I'm really happy with the shoe and the updates, what's changed and what hasn't. The one thing that I wish this shoe did have though was the drain ports. That could change as I get more and more mileage in with the shoe. I have very limited mileage with it so far. I only have about 10 miles total. So as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, this is more a first look and not necessarily a review. I will definitely be putting another video up on this channel as I get more and more mileage in with it, because my impressions can very well change as I get more use in with this shoe. But overall, so far, the traction has been really good. I love the volume and the fit of this updated shoe. I like that the heel is still locked in nicely like it was with the 7. It's a very nimble, lightweight shoe. Foam is very responsive, and I really look forward to seeing how it holds up and performs over time compared to the previous Lone Peaks that I've been wearing on the trails for several years now. So there you have it. That is a first look at the Altra Lone Peak 8. I am most likely going to order another pair of these once I get a little bit more mileage in with them, just because I really enjoyed the Lone Peak 6, and if this performs similar in that regard, this is a shoe that I will most likely be very happy with throughout 2024. Those are my thoughts. What are yours? Have you been wearing the Altra Lone Peaks at all in the past? And have you picked up a pair of the new Lone Peak 8s? What are your first impressions? Leave them in a comment below. I'd love to hear everybody else's opinions with this shoe. And also let me know how they're working out for you too. I hope you found this video helpful. And if you have any questions about this shoe, please also feel free to leave them in a comment below. Or you can contact me at any time at reachyoursummit.net. If you like this video, hit the like button and consider subscribing to my channel. I'm always adding new content to it. I want to thank you all for watching. Thank you for subscribing. I greatly appreciate it. I have a lot of exciting content coming up for this channel, and in some of that content, you'll probably see me wearing these shoes. But until the next one, see you on the trail.